Girl, you really showed me. Think with your heart, don't think with your body. Clever. Sorry, not sorry. Sorry, not Justin Timberlake. Write me a river. Lately, I be having conversations with myself, cause I feel like I have nobody to talk to. I be having conversations with myself, cause I feel like I have nobody to turn to. Everything was green light, now we got the red. Could've had some.
Yes, son.
Yeah, greetings. Welcome to the Topiks here on Real Entertainment Network. Like you expect to have real talk. Didn't expect to have this late on Eid, but we're here. We're in for another edition here on Real Network. I want to say good evening to Oli, and good evening to our followers throughout the region. Also want to good evening to those wherever you are around the world, whether it's in
Yes, son, you're break up, yes, son.
Scotland.
You're breaking up. You're breaking up.
Okay. I probably need to
you're muffled.
return. Okay. Thanks everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Topiks. I have a number of things to so Banky, good evening.
Yes, greetings, Jason, and to all those who tuning in to Real Entertainment Network. And good, you just listen to Real Talk, just going up by. So now it's the Topiks. So greatly appreciate you guys tuning in. And it's not a Tuesday evening. Let me say good evening to the folks in Orly and Layamiga, and the folks in the neighboring islands, Sabre and Station, St. Bart's, and the rest of the neighboring islands, BVI, US Virgin Islands, also the folks over in Montserrat, Antigua and Barbuda, and the folks all over in the Leeward and Windward Island, also the folks in the diaspora, North America, all up to Canada, down to the Florida Keys, Atlanta, Texas, Chicago, New York, Jersey, and the rest of the US, also the folks in Europe and over in Asia, also in Africa, wherever you're at the sound of our voice. Good morning, good afternoon, whichever is appropriate. Greatly appreciate you guys tuning in and looking forward for a beautiful discussion. Also, if you want to be a part of the show, the telephone number is 1-869-662-7196. If you're overseas, you can use the WhatsApp call on that, and then if you're local, you just use the regular number. So the telephone number again is 1-869-662-7196. Also, remember to share the link and move over to the YouTube. You can still be on Facebook, but the Facebook after 30 days they tend to remove in the video. So we encourage you guys to switch over to the YouTube link and continue to share the link as usual. And the Topiks is accept calls. It's also go both ways. You can put up your text messages on the screen, and we'll read them out and engage you. I just say it's non-political. It's just all about bringing the information to the general public, straightforward, and not butting up in any way and stuff like that. And also, if you want to be a sponsor of the Topiks, any one of the shows, whether it's Real Talk, Everything Agriculture Show, contact Yason, Reese, Ira, Chevelle, any one of us, and make your contribution. And no culture I'm coming up, Yason, and it will be a shame that Real Entertainment don't get any of the ads to play and to promote and some of this stuff, because this entertainment medium has been pushing agriculture, not agriculture, culture, releasing the music and stuff like that, and we're all part of this environment, and everyone should benefit. And it shows in this time the government have to do with their petty stuff and taking things personal. They need to share whatever is in the kitty and spread it. If you want to go left Navis, go to Sync It and have all the different medias down there promoting Culturama, and we're here every evening pushing Culturama and all this different stuff. And the other shows and whatever other entertainment the agriculture department or the government is doing. We should really get real entertainment should definitely deserve better treatment than this, and this is something we really got to get started out. So, yeah, son.
Yeah, I mean, definitely, Real Entertainment Network would have been making their contributions for years, and would have, addressed a number of different topics and a number of different issues, and have really definitely step up to the plate in terms of a well recognized media forum and media platform well, we can't even just say in the region, I would say globally. So we give thanks, and we give thanks for the opportunity to be able to be a part of the Real Entertainment Network and to be able to be a part of that platform that is so versatile and deals with so many different issues and so many different topics, and thus have this program that is called the Topics, where we get to zoom in on some and all sorts of different issues and topics that's happening, whether nationally, regionally, globally. So we are going to use this time to engage our people in terms of a number of things that's out there in the space, and a number of things that you also can put on the table. We have we open, and we give you opportunity to you know put your information, whether it is on the Facebook wall or on our YouTube platform. We want to encourage folks to go to the YouTube platform and subscribe to the YouTube platform, Real Entertainment Network. What happens, on Facebook in these times, they are just keeping your videos for 30 days, whereas on YouTube, you can have that, video for an extended period of time. And so we want to encourage a lot of our followers, even those who follow us on Facebook, good for Facebook page, and we would still make your comment on Facebook, but we encourage you um, subscribe to the YouTube platform. We will be more active in that space. So also on the YouTube also the book and Twitch. If you make your comments, usually this is a platform that would respond to the comments. So if you have a topic in mind you want to put on the table as well, you can also drop it in the comment section, and we would seek to address it. Sometimes, depending on the engagement and the discussions, we do one or two times might miss a few comments, but generally on this platform, we do with your participation via the comment section, and so we definitely make sure that we give you that recognition whilst we are doing the show. So we say good evening to our people wherever you are around the globe, and we're going to get into, well, things from the local scene first, I guess, and then we go along to different things. Um, First up, Banky, I understand that you would have gotten one of the application forms in relation to medical cannabis industry, and I would like some comment in terms of some of the things that were highlighted in the document, and so that we, the public, a better of what expect and to anticipate as we forward in and on this journey, this cannabis cannabis journey, and I hope as sometimes I do like to deal with this medical this because it is not uh, medical, it is a plant. It has medicinal properties, just how many of the other herbs that we have around us have medicinal properties. So it's not necessarily that special, say, in terms of medicinal is unique properties, yes, but to single it out and to be dealing with it the way that it's being dealt with, it's quite interesting. So I don't know if it's or if it's on Banky's side, but it seems as Banky is probably frozen or something. Okay, I have to check the live to see what's going on. Okay, yes, it seems like on Banky's end and not necessarily on my, so it's lively. So okay, I guess when Banky is back and getting, we can get to that. Now, things are warming up. It's getting closer to music festival and St. Kitts and Nevis. It's closer to Mango Festival on Nevis. Then closer to culture on Nevis. And so we see that we are set for a number of interesting activities to be taking place throughout the next weeks and months here in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. And there's lots. And we can't forget also the festival. That's the one that is more recent. Or should be, yes, yes, it would be the more um, pressing activity, because that would be before the music festival, that would be before Mango Fest, and that would be before Culturama. So the Breadfruit Festival, I don't think I've gotten a chance to experience a Breadfruit Festival, but I do look forward to the experience. And I must say, I love the idea that it is done in a quaint little village called Bansgut. And I love the fact that it is something that seeks to put the village on the map, so to speak. Here is this big event that people look forward to experience. So even if you have never been to Barnesburg for the whole year, right? That one day in the year, you take a trip out, and you'll be able to see some of the people who are there, some of the creative people who are there, some of the talented people who are there, some of the great chefs and um, bakers and musicians and all of these other things. And so I love that idea that community, community spirit, community energy, and giving the community something to be proud of and something to look forward to annually. So I want to encourage folks out there to support things like these, support events like these. We sometimes talk about, nothing is happening and people ain't doing nothing and so on. But when you have activities like these organized by the people in the community and you expect the Nivision people to participate and showcase their talents and skills and so on, that is a true demonstration of the community spirit that we once had and that we once enjoyed, full joyed, as we would say within Rastafari in the past. And these are things that we really need to be able to pass on to the future generation. It is our responsibility at this point to be able to pass on a lot of, you know, these cultural traditions. And breadfruit is said to be one of the foods that were brought along, they say, by the Polynesians, I think they say, you know, brought it, you know, these sides. However, it is something that has been used within, you know, our people for decades, and it is something that is to some extent taken for granted. It's only sometimes when we do get to live in other territories, and you don't see these things like you used to in the Caribbean, you really begin to appreciate, or we would say appreciate love within Rastafari. Um, the the things that we once took and sometimes people still take for granted, in the sense of the breadfruit and the sour sap and the grapes and, you know, the papaya and all these things that we have around us that we take for granted. It's only sometimes when people live in Canada and people live in England and people in America and people live in, you know, some different parts of the world, especially places where it's pretty cold and um, they might not be that close to a farm, so to speak, even though in these times farming technology has created the scenario where a farm could be anywhere. Um, but you know what I mean. So that is the reality that we deal with. So in terms of highlighting the breadfruit within, you know, Nevis and creating that festival, I'm hoping that, you know, our people on Nevis and the people on St. as well could see the wisdom and see the need for us to begin to support much more activities like these, because these activities foster and help to foster that which we are really looking forward to see, that camaraderie, that, you know, community spirit, that, you know, empowering of you know, the little higgler, the little backyard cook, the little pastry chef in the community, the little, you know, person who do the barbecue, the little, you know, so everybody get a chance to maybe showcase their talent, everybody get a chance to make a little money, and everybody get a chance to maybe get creative with breadfruit. You might even see people who are not necessarily chefs, but, you know, maybe they just, you know, been home for some time and they've been trying out breadfruit in a particular way that you just, you know, never even know. And you're introduced to breadfruit in a way that you taste it and you drink it or you eat it and you figure, okay, it's interesting. I like this. Okay, I can do with this, and you maybe learn the recipe and things like that. So we definitely want to support things like that. Also, on the flip side, well, not the flip side, but in addition to that, um, you know, we talk about the negativities sometimes when things do flare up in the communities, and we sometimes tend to want to brand the entire community sometimes because of the maybe behaviors and um, incidences that may take place with, a few members of a particular community. But then when you have events like these that, showcases the community in a different light and showcases the sort of camaraderie and together can be a part of a community. We sometimes don't necessarily want to show and highlight these positive things, and these are the things that we need to show. Regardless of where you're living on the island, you need to find yourself at Barnesgut, and that day, just tell yourself, look, I'm not cooking, right? I'm not, I'm gonna get up, whatever day it is, and I'm going to make sure I have enough money, budget for it, pack up. Tell yourself it's a picnic, it's like a picnic, and you pack up your bag and you have your children, whatever games and so on. Maybe you could even make it a no internet there and a no games there, you know what I mean? No, you right, and you just head up to Barnesgut and you tell yourself that you are going to enjoy, or we would say within Rastafari, fully your breadfruit festival and have food in a lot of different ways. You might learn some recipes. You may learn, you may taste some things that you never taste. You may get some ideas for yourselves, where you may see a particular thing and you may want to tweak it, and you to come up with your own version of it. Things like that. So we really want to encourage much more of that. I understand also there should be following that. I don't know how close behind of that would be the Bread Nut Festival. That is definitely something that I am very much interested in as well. The other thing with things like this is the fact that it would and should, and I'm hopeful that events like these are very much assisted and promoted by the what you call it, the Ministry of Agriculture, because it's things like these that can help to promote food security and promote the interest in various crops that we might be not paying much of attention, and help to make them popular. And such as a result, there's a demand, and if there's a demand, then they need for folks to supply. And so then you'll have farmers who are engaged in various aspects of farming that, right now they are not necessarily focused on. Because, for example, if the Bread Nut Festival becomes a big thing, it would mean that there would be a high demand for more bread nuts and St. Kitts and Nevis, and thus there might be the need, that shouldn't be the need for us to do it, but there would be the need for more bread nuts to be planted, unless we want to continue just be importing bread nuts from, the Windward Island forward. But these are things that would help to stimulate these kinds of thought processes and put us in a position where we could take some actions like these. So, Banky, look like you're back. I was
Yes.
just really being reasoning about the Breadfruit Festival and what I think we need to do in terms of as a people promote much more of these local events and highlight how they can also tie into helping to promote culture on a level if it is organized and promoted properly.
Well, yes, some years ago, while at the Department of Agriculture as an extension officer, there was a program by FAO for the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis to plant 400 acres of breadfruit. I was a part of that workshop and training and stuff like that. Was supposed to there was but the Trinidad already have some short breed of breadfruit, the yellow one and the round one. Here we have two different type of breadfruit. One is round and the other one is elongated, and also one is white inside and one is also yellow inside. But and there was supposed to be a 4 to 5 year project, but only 30 since we have been had been planted. Some small, less than 50 was planted, and somehow the program wasn't continued. But I have the literature and the handbook and stuff like that. So all these, and these are things I'm still intrigued to push. I mean, I would like to start a program where we can see if I can get some breadfruit slips from different places and try to plant at least a 5,000. We could start off. I can start off with 2,000 breadfruit seedlings and give them out and stuff like that, because right now we don't have a minister of agriculture in Yassan, and you just have to put it like that. It just don't exist in many ways. We have a minister of culture that like to dance, you see, but we don't have a minister of agriculture, and the farmers them saying it. The ministry is falling apart under that same minister. It don't exist. We're in the 6th month, which means end of the second quarter, and I just see the series is about food security, and Indian Castle face the project. This is a project that would bring employment within the Gingerland areas and to truckers, excavators, stores within the community, and all. It's just a trickle of domino effect with millions to be made within the community. So it's obviously, and we're not serious, but the breadfruit thing, the breadfruit song, breadfruit, you know the song, when they had the last World War, he stood I was talking to my cousin Fox. His people just a line up, both white and black line up for food, and the cassavas is what and the breadfruit is those are the food that the people had to, that were resilient to save the people. It is said if a man plant 5 breadfruit tree, his work have been done on earth, because it's gonna feed generation and generation, and it could be the same set for mango too. You see, because these trees are very hardy and stand for generation. So me and you have done our work long time. We just do extras. You see what I mean? The kind of planting man have done do. We have done our part. My uncle Mansa and all those Billy who had gone on, and all those other farmers, not even a road have been named after them, and all this different stuff. So it's a beautiful thing when the farmers and the fisher folks and all those who is in the agriculture industry. Because it's like my daughter had an exam yesterday, and then today started her exam, and she was telling me she have an exam on agriculture. And then she was and they were asking her, well, what is agriculture? And she just gave me a simple answer, which is the growing of crops and growing of animals. So I'm waiting to her to finish. Like I realized POE, it don't miss what happened. That's it? He said, yeah, that's all the teacher tell me, say, that's it. Nothing else. I said, listen, me man, when you're gonna write, this is what you're gonna write. Agriculture is the growing of crops, rearing of animals, fungi, algae, and also for medicinal purposes, for clothing, fiber, shelter, and the most important part is for human sustenance or for human livity. Without agriculture, we don't exist. That is only purpose it serves. It's for us. Not even that's just our teachers them don't have the interest. Those who are teaching these classes have to have an interest when it comes to teaching the youth and them. We don't have teachers like Albert Manos and those guys before who are gonna expound and thing. So she said, well, I'm gonna have to get an extra mark than that. Me say, you better do. You see what I mean? You see why they tell all these things, because the teachers them don't have that interest, my brethren. I don't have like that's why whenever I go to school in a virgin. When I come home, I teach myself, because a lot of these teachers just don't have the interest. It's just a job for them, and they like it till they don't learn, but they don't learn nothing. You see, they think they learn, but when teaching is learning from the students them too. That's what it's all about. You see, it's not. I love. It's like sometimes my day on the farm and I just chilling and reminiscing, and teachers like Miss LeBlanc and Miss Choss and Miss Rose and Teacher Bartlett. Those were the days. You might still have a few who genuinely love the teaching, but when you're teaching the youth in these times, that's why you need a different class system. We have you don't have to have no books in this time, my brethren. You should have laptops, and they can, so the youth can always Google it and they sit things hands on and have a smart. All the classes should be smart rooms, smart. All classes should be smart with a different blackboard with technology. You touch this screen and all the different stuff. make teaching fun, and so the youth then go be learning. But the breadfruit thing, I got to big up Denise Smithon. She's the one in department what do you call the area? Community development. I mean, just gone there was the
Yes, sir.
Heritage Festival now coming up next week, Saturday. That is next week Saturday, right? Is the breadfruit? You have the flyer,
Yeah.
yes, son? That will be the breadfruit festival, and that
I,
event being going. Huh? Is next week Saturday or Friday? Which is it? You
yeah, I'm
find
not
the
sure.
flyer?
I'm trying to see if I could pull it up. I'm trying to see if I could pull
All
it
right,
up.
okay, I'll find it
Yeah.
then. I'll
It's
just
the 21st,
which is the
Saturday, the
yes,
21st of June,
exactly.
Barnesville Community
Yes,
Center, 12 noon. I guess
yes. Start
until
at 12.
should have delicious food,
Yes,
music, and fun for the whole family. Sponsored by Hamilton Reserve Bank. Um, and there's some numbers there that you can contact. 469-5521, extension 6461, 6463, and 6464. That's 469
yes.
5521, extension 6461, 463, or 6464. Those are the extensions. If you're interested in, being a part of, adding whatever, or finding out more information in terms of the Department of Community Development and Nevis in relation to the Bedford Festival, we want to encourage everybody to come on out and yeah, full up bands good. Even if you might have to walk up a little bit because you have to park, for the road or whatever, take the little exercise, man, and go on up and support the community. Have a lot more of these things, bank here. I want to see every community have something. Every month we should be able to
Yes,
have something and let the money circulate. That could be one of the ways that we create ways of keeping the monies within our communities. Back then as we talk, those are things that our people used to do, the partner hand and the bartering and, the creating of
yes, sorry.
events where, the farmer and the fisherman get a chance to sell or do the barbecue or the fish. These are things that we used to do back then, and we need to do these things as well to continue to show our youths that which our parents used to do and our foreparents used to do, so that they too can get a chance to see it and experience it for themselves.
Definitely,
So
yes,
yeah, so that's the
and
breadfruit.
breadfruit. Yeah, go ahead.
No, you go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying breadfruit is something that is very versatile and it's complex carbs, full of protein, full of great amino acids and fiber and stuff like that. And it's something you can, if you have many of it, you can just peel it, blanch it, or you dip it in some hot water for 5, 10 seconds, and then you freeze it and stuff like that. And this will preserve it instead of having this thing. You can also make a nice a flour and could be always mix it in the regular white flour, so at least you have a blended flour, just like the cassava flour the same way. And all those, even cassava is something they can have an event and cassava the same way. Is many crops you can have thing, and breadfruit is one which is pushing, and then you still have the bread nut. So the drink, make a beautiful drink, like ice cream, and right now I have a virgin in sink it. He and his wife they do breadfruit chips, which is sold in rams, like the French fries, the breadfruit fries. And so at the agricultural fair they'll do breadfruit chips and rabbit. And you want to see the line. You see? Yeah,
Mhm.
very nice. Very, very, very nice. The breadfruit I've tried
Yeah,
it, very, very nice. Anything breadfruit I'll always love trying, and Inca is one of my favorite dish at the same time. I know in Jamaica some of them people will cut out the inside, and then adding stuff in it and cook and pork on the top in some of the Windward Island and cooking it, cook the food inside the breadfruit itself. So it's just different ways or in the different Caribbean countries that they use the breadfruit
oil
as a
down.
as
Oil down in the
yeah,
area,
and the kind of vibe. So it's a beautiful thing. So definitely wanna big up Denise Smith and the one. I think IY should be the one pushing is lead to in charge of the breadfruit thing. So hopefully we get him on the show and we can do some promotion on that at the same time. If not, then we probably hear from Miss Smitten, because she's the one who's really been out there hitting the road, hitting the street, and pushing this thing over the years. So just got to big up the whole team at the Department of Social Community Development. Yes, son.
Man, good vibes, definitely some good vibes, and her team, and we really want, we really definitely want to send up some serious thanks to the efforts that she has been making over the time. She, along with the team, as IRA, is part of the organization and promotion of the Bedford Festival. Yeah, man, give thanks. We need to make sure that we have some more festivals. Like I'm suggesting, maybe one for, it could be a different crop. Maybe golden apple. It could be maybe passion fruit. It could be maybe, what I mean, avocado. It could be something else. To help at the same time encourage agriculture, because that in itself would encourage and promote purity, and encourage people to, those who have these trees, take more care of them and encourage people to plant more trees. Banky, I think
Mm-hmm.
as we are talking about trees, I want to use this point to introduce a project that I am working on, where I have teamed up with uh, an organization in Nigeria. They have begun to embark on a 10,000 fruit tree plant project. So they're encouraging, school children to don't
The
waste their
Department of
seeds and
Agriculture
so
had
on.
something like that some 10 years ago. 5,000 planting 5,000 fruit trees a couple of years ago. But that includes seedlings. I don't think seedlings should be included when it comes to planting trees. I remember the minister, the premier were pushing a pro they want to plant 5,000 trees or 10,000 trees. That was a couple of years ago. Well, at the department, but I think that includes seedlings. That would make sense to me. That we could plant to get 10,000 seedlings. That is just having a couple trees of
Couple trees,
watermelon.
couple trees. Yeah, yeah.
That
So
means you
no,
see, so
what we're
that
talking
should.
about here, is food trees, things that's gonna last, a long time, because we're looking at food sovereignty. We're looking at being able to have something that your children and your grandchildren and maybe your grandchildren would learn that, but yeah, my grandpa, my great grandpa, they plant this, and he ain't here now, but we still could eat the mango. And when we eat the mango, we could remember grandpa, or we could
Of
remember great
course, yes,
grandpa,
I.
and things like that. So I have embarked along with my group, um, the African Diaspora group. Remember, we had Ambassador Shah on the program here. I am the Caribbean ambassador for that organization. And so we have decided that we would embark on that project here in the Caribbean. And that would be you could say, my first collaborative project in terms of literally bridging the gap between Africa and the Caribbean, demonstrated in a real tangible way, in a way that would be remembered, as we are thinking here, as a legacy down the road. So we are looking at doing a 10,000 plants, fruit trees for the Caribbean, not just St. Kitts and Nevis, but for the Caribbean. So what I am seeking to do is, from Tafari's Plant Nursery, we will sponsor, donate 100 plants. And then we are going to allow whoever, if you're interested, to donate plant or plants, so we could get up to that number. Whatever you donate, what we want to do is to be able to document the information so that we can track your plant. We want to be able to have it in a database. So at the end of the day, if you donated a plant, you can tell where your plant went. Because since we're talking about moving to whether it's Grenada or whether it's Trinidad or whether it is St. Lucia that some of the plants end up going, you would know where your plant is. If somebody donate, because we'll have the option of also if you can't sponsor a plant in itself and you want to donate, $10 to a plant, and we set aside that plant for you. So we'd have your name attached to it, and wherever that plant ends up, we'll be able to document it and say, okay, Mary, your plant is in St. Lucia, it is going, and we could be able to track it. They would be able to track it as we continue the journey. So we want to be able to do that in terms of embarking on that as a part of our food security and food sovereignty drive, where we're not just talking about it, we are literally doing something about it. And for those who want to contribute to doing something about it, we are creating the avenue and the space for that. And so that, as we were talking about, I just thought that we would have just segued into that aspect of it. Before you dropped out, I went into I was seeking to get your stance on the application that you would have went to relation to the Cannabis Authority, and start to highlight to us some of the things that is a part of it, and I guess it would give us opportunity to discuss some of the things that we would have been doing for a number of weeks, months, years since the decriminalization of cannabis in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis, and the push by the government to zoom in on the medical aspect, even though we would have all reports and all consultations would have highlighted the fact that the people are of the view that cannabis should be decriminalized and treated like alcohol and tobacco, and that cannabis should be dealt with in a free way. We are still seeing and having a number of issues and challenges. So let's continue. We continue to engage the topic. We are the only forum and platform in the Federation that do have a show specific to the topic of cannabis, usually the last week in the month. On this platform, we dedicate the show to the issue of cannabis. This is the topics. We are not necessarily addressing that topic tonight, as to say that that's the focus of the topic tonight, but it is here because it's one of the topics that we also want to give some updates on as we continue. So Banky, talk to me about that application.
Well, before going to the application, I need to, the Cannabis Board and the Medical Cannabis Authority have a membership board of 15 people and only one member from Nevis, which I think everyone seems to think Yason made some part of this Cannabis Authority thing, and I don't know where they're thinking that we just like the regular layman just speaking on behalf of it and stuff like that. But many people reaching out to me and stuff like that and share their views, and then I try to enlighten them in different stuff. They have done, must you think, is 3 meetings in St. Kitts, one in the old road, and I think they did one in large. I'm not sure if the last one had finished as yet, if they did 3 or 2, but none have reached to Nevis as yet. My thing is, you have 15 members on the of directors, and the board, so which means simultaneously you could have somebody in Nevis doing meetings, force just divided up. You would have 8. As far as I see, there should be 8 meetings in St. Kitts in all the constituencies, and the same thing in Nevis in at least 3 meetings in the I5, because I don't have to leave country to come. You see what I mean? Because all of them on the board, will be sharing this, disseminating the same information. Everybody on the board don't have to be in the same place because you're just repeating the same information and enlightening. So just having 3 meetings and none, and then they seem like they're uncertain when they're gonna be over in Navis. That don't make no sense. You see what I mean? And right, and from what my information, what I'm gathering, is that, can you see then these people is like, the board is one of the most important board, 15 members, and the board seem to be frustrated at this time because there are issues with their payment, monthly payments that they should be getting paid. They have been owed and stuff. Whether they've been owed $1 or 1 cent, they've been owed. You see what I mean? So, and they still, money is still, and they were being owed before, prior to that, for months. So they have to be back paid and then still balance and back pay. And then they're still owed for months behind. And this is the next month again, June, and then next month of July. So they need to be, the members, them, is putting in their work. They need to be paid just like all the ministers, they're getting their paid, and all who is responsible, whether it's in finance or whoever the minister, you understand, and all who's affiliated, the board members need to get paid. Okay, it don't make no sense. People put in their work and are frustrated. Everything gonna be a domino effect. So let me address Mr. Samuel Duggins. I mean, it's important that you make sure that the board is comfortable and that they're being paid and being paid on time, because all these things have been budgeted for. So ain't no reason you have, and then at the same time, you still need to have more members from Navis. And anyone leaving from Navis to go to sing it for a meeting, they should not have to use the money out of their own pocket. These things should not be happening, Virgin. Yes, son, people are reaching out to me now. I don't want to come here like when they have the workers at sports being mistreated. Because when they see me, me can't breathe. A spear squeeze me, I get in a Virgin. Me can't breathe, So I'm calling out the whole cabinet, because the minister of tourism, they'll be talking about cannabis. So y'all please make sure the bodies get paid. Okay? Dr. Joe, please make sure the cannabis board get paid, and this thing don't happen again as of this month. Make sure everything should be. I'll talk about it Friday until I get paid and another get paid. I want to talk about it every minute until I'm being paid. And now, me not stop, your son. And I don't think that to happen, eh? So why them home stay? If it's one thing I don't like, is people advantaging the regular man. When a man is supposed to get paid, because they're getting the money, so make sure the people who are put in place getting the money. It don't make no sense being in a situation where you're being getting knocked out and ill-treated, and then boy, your whole secrecy oath, is crap. Do not let people, because they now hold themselves, for the moment they're not holding themselves in the bargain, the secrecy oath ain't valid no more, because they're not fulfilling the end of the bargain. So you all have a right to talk. Don't be put in a situation where people ill-treating you and you're sucking up and not talk. You'll be foolish to do that. The moment the void, the contract have been void if they ain't paying you. So you have a right to talk. Okay, so let me get into Yasan now, the licensing part when it comes to get the application, because there seem to be some different types of licensing. You wanted to say something, Yasan?
So hold a second. Just for clarity, the
Yes.
licensing aspect that you're going to be dealing with is something from the Medical Cannabis Authority Board now. This has nothing to do with the ecclesiastic side of things. This is on the medicinal cannabis side.
Well, yes, and you blaspheme, because both of us know there have not been one discussion in the ecclesiastic to meet with Jeffrey Ali never meet with this stuff up to now. There was a phone call say we got to meet to have a discussion. That's all it was, nothing else. So you're blaspheming. How you get a whole application like this? All of a sudden, no, we're talking about medical, not the ecclesiastic.
I just want to make sure. I just want to make sure
Yes.
that we're clear to the public. Remember, we're addressing the public. So I want to make sure the public is clear.
Yes.
So that we're talking about an application that is coming through the medicinal side. Right. Okay. Wonderful.
Yes.
Talk to me now.
So here we have some the types of licensing. You have cultivation class A, which is less than an acre. Then you have cultivation class B, 1 to 5 acres. Then you have cultivation class C, over 5 acres. Then you have the laboratory license. Remember, everything, all these are licensing. So you have 1 to 3 cultivation, 1 laboratory, 1 lounge, and you have traditional cultivation, That's a separate one by itself. You have retail, you have transportation, processing, research, import, export. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 licenses. All right. Then you have a lot. You have the if you have 3 employees, your 3 employee have to fill out a lot of information the same way and all kind of different stuff. If you have a business and all this different, it's a lot of information after we got. But when it comes to the growing of it, one thing I find in one of the cultivation part is that you have to be within more than 600 meters from a school, a church, and some of these other entities. I understand that. Well, where's some of the supermarket there? Then the next to right across junior high school right across from Best Buy. I sell rum, I sell cigarette and that kind of things. What would the difference be? You went to the junior high school. So how come that not have that specification that be 600 meters away from a school and a church? 600 meters going to take you back up to the what you call it there? The Methodist church, right? In Gingerland. And if you're in town, it's the same thing. Amos Chapel Street across the street from Best Buy. That the way less than 600 meters. And if you go cross over back, there's a by the New Testament church. That's the next 600 less than the same way. So I try to understand why these biasness, who come up with these things. Then if you're into transport, to transport your herb, you see that the vehicle have to be parked up, you can't use to do that nothing else, you know. I understand that one neither. So may use my car, so you can use a personal car, the transportation you can see like you have to get it park up when you're not using it, and which part you're gonna park up and all this different stuff. So it's some strict regulation the man got into this thing, yeah. Yeah. It's like it put to frustrate people. You know what I mean? So I encourage each and everyone to get a copy of the licensing, go to the Cannabis Authority office and get and go through this application and realize the amount of stuff, because if there's a lot, you'll see a lot. If you can't even, this is like when you're going to a blood test, you gotta tick, 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 tick. Yeah, this is a blood work, lot of things. And if you owe any money to the government, any taxes, whatever it is, nobody with it. You got to pay it up first because you're now getting a license. And remember, only a certain amount of license going to be issued. It's not like you're going to have, like, you got 2,000 or 3,000 shops selling alcohol or whatever. This is not going to work like a so. This not going to work like a so. So there is a number of licenses they're going to give out. Whether it's 15, whether it's 10, whether it's 12, whether it's 20, I don't know. But the lady, Miss Knight, said it's just ain't anybody going to get a license. She makes sure say it off the bat. So anybody could get a liquor license when it comes to this thing, and then if you have it asking about your criminal records and all this different stuff and whatever, well, you can't be criminal record about herb because they don't expunge people who have things with cannabis and stuff like that. And cannabis can't be no drug no more because it's a non-poisonous plant. But and the books with the Drug Act, which is against the plant, so there's a lot of conflicting stuff going on. But I want to encourage everyone. I can't go to this whole application and come down, but it's a lot of stuff. You know what I mean? They're asking for different IDs, whichever your choice, like passport, license, identification cards, and then a lot of other stuff. So, and then declaration where they're going to send out other agencies to vet you and all this different stuff. So not like the government alone, when you send up that, they can give other entities the right to do a search on you also. So your information is also going to be given to other entities. So these are things you're going to send off on. So I just want to encourage the people who have that interest in the medical cannabis to go to the office, get an application, and go to the application and see exactly. And then if you're going to be growing, you have to have a security system. What type of security system? Describe it, and it's just a whole heap of things with Virgin. Of how expensive you have to put people in a lot of expense. Greenhouse and indoors, a pure money you say you understand make a dollar yet. Just pure money. So me no know a pure thing, you understand?
Thank you.
Yes.
I have been saying this for a number of years now.
Over and over.
And I
Yes.
have been telling our people to be very cautious of the medical side of the industry, because that side is a very much regulated side. And with the regulations means a lot of investments in a lot of things that you don't necessarily would have to deal with in relation to the recreational or personal use side of things, nor on the spiritual or religious side of things. However, those sides of things are the sides that more addresses the local people, and the government don't stand to necessarily benefit as much from those aspects as they stand to from the medicinal side, and thus their option to focus more on the medicinal cannabis side. Now, the things that we must observe when it comes to medicinal cannabis side of things, it is sort of like another cheat code that the government is using. Instead of having to reinvent the wheel, what they would have done, they would have gone and used some of the models that were in place. So when I listen to some of these things that you're talking about, if you're
But
supposed
these are
to go
copy
on
and
the
paste. These are
regulations
copy and paste, man.
for
These are
America
copy and
and for
paste.
Canada, and so exactly copy and paste.
But
So
these are
they
copy
don't
and paste. These guys
necessarily
copy the idea.
fit
Them not
into,
pin,
they don't
can
necessarily
copy
fit
these things
into our
here.
scheme of things, but they want to thought through. And because it is not an industry that most of the people who are legislating are into, it is not necessarily that significant for them. All that happened to them, they were forced to deal with it. You know, the Sankofa case, and the judgment forced them to had to do something. And so they did something, and now this is where they are now. They attempted to do something, and now what they're doing last is what they should have been first. So all of this consultation now and town hall meeting and all of these things should have been done prior to some of these things that they would have signed on to and agreed to and copy and paste it. And that is the issue, especially on that side. And that is one of the reasons why I have been encouraging our people as well to agitate for themselves who are getting paid to deal with this issue, to get up on it. And until they do that, we are going to continue have these sort of discussions, because here is it, we are still here talking about relations that fits under the medicinal side and pointing out the reality, which is that side is not so much geared towards the local to benefit. For the local to benefit from that, it would mean that we would have to create a company or some conglomerate where 4 or 5 maybe people set up to do a business venture. And then even when you set up to do a business venture with that, the risks that are involved in the startup of that. Let me give you an example. An operation that somebody will put in a 2 million anticipation of getting $2 million. Now you have to meet the um, good manufacturing standard in order for that first go to be exported or marketed. And if you go more, that's when you're testing out how kind of little things may happen. Let's say just outbreak. When they do this, they find pesticide or they find some pest or something on that. That's $2 million now that you lost in addition to infrastructure setup. Remember now you might have spent 5 or 6 million to get your operation set up, getting the license and necessary and all that. The first go is 2 million and you lose that $2 million. Now, how many have that $2 million to hit again? So you see that, that's what I'm saying. You see that this is for those who are, you know, like these big companies and other places who already have millions sitting down and could invest to take a shot like that, could take a loss like that, because they already have the money and they know this, they know the industry, and they know, okay, yeah, we could put in another and make that back again. So these are some that we have to take into consideration at the industry and St. Kitts and Nevis, and we need things I see need to happen. And Nevis, we agitate for the minister, start to the minister and the Department of Agriculture to actually even come talk about the medicinal side to the people and to figure out is the status with the plastics. You could figure what is on in relation
Yes,
to you
son.
getting the 56 grams for the 5 trees and for yes.
No, say we're having some issues this evening. We have you're breaking up a lot. Check your message. Your message just send you. You're breaking up. You're coming in breaking up. But we'll check your message. Well, I just tell you, the Minister of Agriculture. For me, we don't have a Minister of Agriculture. No, we don't denounce that. You see, because there's no interest. It's just halabaloo, 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 and he knows there's no interest either because there been no capital project have been done in agriculture. They want from on the since he been there. Everything that has been coming up even before what was there under Minister Jeffers, and one of the biggest that Minister Jeffers have done is the Indian Castle Fruit Orchard, and they mash it up, and not even he can speak on that. You see what I mean? And everything trickled down. When I started, when I was there under him, he didn't. They didn't give me what was owed to me. I stick around for extra year. The next minister come on, he do the same thing. I spoke to human resources. They tell me what is what, and then I leave. Then everything fall apart. You see, they're not serious. So, and the two minister who refused to give me a promotion that I would deserve, Jeffers and continued Eric. Now Jeffers, it look like a puppy show that he or minister mash up what that he invested in her. He cabinet now support it, the minister now support it. So he look like a fool. But he can't talk about it, and he have a radio show, he can't talk about Indian Castle. Can't talk about it. And I dare he to talk about it. That is show the difference. How can you be a part of a team when you have mash up $1 million worth of food with coconut trees, avocados, everything you can think of, when everybody, though with the highest and brag that there's a PhD, and though with the biggest of this and say nothing could go wrong, the waste of time. Well, they hush them out now, though. You see? Yes.
And come on, man. Phase two is coming, so don't worry yourself. Phase 2 is gonna show up.
When you say coming, like, you're telling me that Jesus coming soon. I don't want to hear that. Start the project. Okay? Don't tell me nothing coming. We don't hear that. Jesus coming soon. That what you telling me? Phase 2 coming soon. The man said phase 2 coming.
It's gonna be so excellent that your face gonna be like nothing.
Waste of time. I'm not talking thing with these people on here, you know, who like it talk. I just told you last week they had this thing for a whole week. When a Caucasian man had to tell, and watch over 600 people went to this convention, you know, about sustainability and whatever, you know, and the man tell them is the one thing you all good at is talking things to death. And I showed that resonated within them. You guys have brilliant ideas, but it's just to put them in place. You see? Talking, we hear saying it all the time. We don't need nobody to come outside to tell us that how we know our people. We know our people, your son. They like to talk things to death. So he gonna talk phase 2 to death. When they gonna start? This month or next month? Cultural time? Wait, who they gonna put to do it? Did they come out and say we're gonna do it? They should Zoop should ask who gonna do it. Maybe Zoop gonna do it.
Banky.
Yes.
This is what we more topics, right? However, in some technical difficulties,
yeah,
the software updating and so on. So we're gonna have that. So we're gonna have an early closure. Apologize to the public and the listeners for some of the dropping in and out of and experience, but a lot of be control. we wrap up, I let you know to as we get to create between Africa and the country, we are going to be bringing on one of the editions of the topic, one of the chiefs, the Igbo community in Nigeria. They have an organization. Learn a little bit more about their organization, and we're going a little bit more about the Igbo culture, and
The Igbo,
utilize
that's the
that
kingdom of Benin.
platform for us to reconnect.
They're saying the Igbo, those
Well,
have,
we will
the
learn much more about it, and we have the discussion. We want to have a
yeah, that's this.
series, these discussions
This
where
is
we begin to
this
reconnect
is
with Africa.
this is one of the Igbo hat, the man from Benin and stuff like that. These are handmade. So when you see these type, I have like 2 of them. These are things that you blue shade wear these and stuff like that. So these are handmade with leather. Yeah, we ain't go fall and you not get wet. That's just how these things are so tightly knit. But yes, before I go, let me just say back to the cannabis board and the authority, and to the minister and the cabinet, please to make sure the board is in a very good standing, where they're not frustrated and they're getting their whatever legal tuppence is owed to them, whatever is owed by back paid and is behind. Please update their fees, because they're doing their work. And at the same time also, I realize listening on we call DJ Mary Show podcast with Dr. Garfield Alexander, he himself getting a hard time when it comes to his gratuity, and these things is not right. And remember, when he was a part of the Cannabis Authority, as mentioned, he also mentioned he was not being getting paid as the CEO of the Cannabis Authority. He was still being getting his regular salary for all them years. So the youth should be back paid for all them time he don't put in. So I'm calling out Dr. Joe and the whole cabinet and all who are treating this guy, Garfield Alexander, this kind of way. He need to deserve that back pay, what the work is being done, and need to get his also. So back pay the man and make sure his gratuity adds up to it, that salary that the CEO position was. If that ain't been done, there will be a detriment on the government, because you have to pay a man what he don't put in the work. You can't have a man sitting down getting up, putting in the time, traveling all over the world, and yet you still ain't paying him for the position. And then you give him a hard time to let to step down. So those 2 things, the Cannabis Authority, the board need to be paid. Can me not stop, and I know me not stop, I know mistake. I'm the one who fight for the man who ain't got a voice. I don't let people be ill-treated. You see, they was ill-treated me, I shut it down. Me like to sink the ship. Yeah. I ain't gonna be in a slave ship and I come to the Caribbean, go farm and take, me jump off the ship. I sink the whole ship, put a hole in the ship, and everybody go down. Yeah, that is just how it is, because I'm not gonna take that boat and people gonna think the car. A lot of people get high after ill-treating others, eh? We live in a society where a lot of these leaders are very vindictive and bad-minded, and when people and enjoy people running them down for what they don't work for. Meaning that, you know, work with me. My mother raised me so, and my grandmother raised me so, and my uncles them was not raised me so. Was my uncle man so done gone? A pure F man, so that man so give you a million F word. Yeah, no care who it is. Me ain't man say it is speaking like that. Something I wish I was, you know what I mean? But that ain't me. I gotta be true to myself. So Dr. Garfield and Alexander need to be paid and and back paid for being the CEO, and also those and the Cannabis Authority need to be back paid for what they're owed and up to present standing. And also anyone living from Nevis who is on the Cannabis Authority, they need to figure out that let the board bail the Cannabis Authority. That's all they need to do. Nobody's will take money out the pocket to come into a meeting to sink it of American Cannabis Authority that they don't earmark how much money they're going to make. Their money being allocated, all this moving back and forth should be allocated for. And also, number 2, you need somebody else from Nevis to be a part of the tomb of somebody. Once somebody is not enough, and they're disgruntled about that. That is my say, yes, so you can do the wrap up.
Yeah, you know, you usually, in a way, sometimes really want to address certain of the things that you're saying. But I know we do have the technical issues, so we're gonna leave some of
We
these things.
continue
I guess
Friday.
maybe it's like a
Friday we
spicy
continue.
soap opera, yeah, they call it soap opera back in the day used to be, they keep you right at a kind of edge, make you want to listen to the next one. So I guess
That's
people
it.
may
Did you
want to
just go
hear
late?
the
Did
follow
you
up to
did you just did you just go late? I used to see the class with a set of girls they come to school late every lunchtime. They go watch Bowl of Beautiful and guiding like the like the
But
craziness and then they
like
come
young
to
and the
class.
restless also.
Yeah.
But yeah, we want to say thanks to the Real Entertainment Network team, for really, sticking and staying and really, making things work. We do have a little bit of technical difficulty and they're still behind the scene, even though we're late, I mean, as later they're here, working with us. So we really want to give the collaboration. Some real, New Vision brothers, are really passionate about putting information out there and reaching our people and keeping our people together. As we close up, I just want to what another new thing that I am into right now. I am the global brand ambassador for hemp seed flour pasta, right? Banky in the more recent commodifying Rasta. Everywhere you go, they got ice green and gold, and they got Rasta and so Rasta paraphernalia. So they say now they got Rasta pasta, right? So they take up Rasta,
Mm-hmm.
even though Rasta not you know what I mean, them thing. They say they got Rasta pasta. Well,
Of
going
course.
to be the real authentic Rasta because here is it that Rasta and the same go together. Rasta now and for this pasta. So this is going to be the authentic pasta. Go for it in the future. I'm looking to really set up a production line and think it's a Navy. So we are in, a bit of nation where that is concerned. So that would be some information would be coming on topics here on Real Entertainment Network. And so yes, nice and spicy. That's where we remember to the plan, the 10,000 um, project. It's $10 US if you wanted the plant. If you're on the island and you want to donate a plant, is drop it off Buzz, or you can drop it off at Harvest Plant Nursery there at Funk. You leave your information, your name and email address and so on. You'll be able to attach it to the data farm and able to your plant and let you know what's going on with your plant. So we really want to make this a reality. I think we can do it. 10,000 plants, it may sound like a lot, but I'm sure there's so many seeds. And if we still consciously save those seeds and put it in a pot, I realize a couple of weeks, man, you can come and plant your son is for that, plant project, and we will work on people. We're going to wrap up the guidance and detection. See you on Friday for another edition of Everything Agriculture. Enough love, everybody. Guidance and detection, enough respect, Banky. Okay, I guess Banky, you may have to reach out to Ira and
Go ahead, reason. I'm gonna call Aaron now. Go ahead. I'm pause the mic.
yeah, you might have to reach out. Yeah, so people, until Friday, we get into another edition. Be sure to tune in when we update you on that interview with the Ibu chief. It is interesting. I would have had a discussion with the chief earlier on today, and I think that we're in for a treat in terms of learning a bit more about our African culture and hearing it from an African himself. And I think we really need to do a lot more of this, not just talk about it. One of the topics I wanted to talk is the fact that Mayor Motley would have mentioned that we need to not have any visa to go to Africa, and Africa shouldn't have any visa to come to us in the Caribbean. And I think that is something that, should be a serious topic that we push. We need to be able to just go free. You want to go to wherever in Africa, just travel, get your ticket and go, and vice versa. And even in Africa itself, we need to break down these barriers and have free movement so that we can trade more freely amongst each other and all of these things. So that's another topic that I wanted to get into and get your thoughts and feedback on this. We can't continue just talking about reconnecting with Africa and not necessarily make any conscious efforts to do so. Ira, if you're ready, just put in the music underneath, so at least I could get a signal. But if not, I'm just gonna continue and black a sound, as we would say, within Rastafari. So whoever is on the master control, if you're listening, before, because I have no other way of communicating with you directly. So all you do, you start to bring on the music underneath, in a little soft way, and then I would be able to know, well, all right, it's ready for me to say my last few words. But I will continue on that aspect for us to really collaborate. So right now, I'm doing a lot of work behind the scenes, a lot of organizations, and a lot of things to the fore in connections in terms of trade, we're looking at connections in terms of media. So real entertainment, I'm put on the spot. We're gonna be seeking to connect with bases in Ghana, some in Nigeria, media in terms of radio, television, media in terms of making movies and things like that. To have a link with Nollywood, that the connections that in and to some other digital vision that's popping up, and so there's a lot that's going to be coming in terms of us connecting with Africa, justly, bridging that gap. At the same time, I want to give thanks to people like Beyond, who would have, championed that cause. We probably have to make some time and bring him back, so we could have. We do have one of the topics night that we address the African diaspora and the African connections. That's one of the things that I think we really should have a discussion on. And at the same time also, I think based on some of the discussions that I would have been, that there is a need for us to have a program, Banky, maybe a different day, and talk to the real entertainment team about that in relation to having a night where we just deal with African kindness, and where we interview people from from Africa, and different groups and
Sound good.
things like that. So
Sound good.
yeah, that is something
Good
that
vibes.
based on some of the discussion having, that we really definitely would have to. But we're gonna start with having some of them as a part of the topics. We're gonna really bring some international flavor to the topics, because a part of the discussion I had today to Banky, I had a discussion with a sister who is a part of the Maroon community in Jamaica, and we don't have per se a remnant of the Maroon community here and St. Kitts and
What do you
Nevis,
mean?
but we have some
So who
history,
me
so to
be?
speak.
So me be? What do you mean? Who me be? Man, a Maroon virgin. Man,
Well,
what are you
okay,
saying?
what I
Rollins a Maroon
what I
village, you
mean, I
know.
mean,
Rollins a Maroon village, you know. Zetland a Maroon village, you know,
yes, but
virgin. Them a
what I
Maroon up
mean,
there.
I understand what I said, and this is what I said. I said we don't have any remnant of a community that is recognized as a Maroon community at this point, like in Jamaica and some of those other, like
Of
Dominica and so
course.
on, where you do have
I got you.
Maroon villages with
Yes.
people, and you have chiefs and things like that. So that's what I meant in that sense. So that's why I
I got
said
you.
we
Of
do have the
course.
history that you're pointing out, like
Yes.
the Zetlands and Rollins and things like that.
Rally.
Yes. So,
Yes.
but so that's what I'm saying though. with getting conversations with people like these now, we would get a better
So the reality,
understanding of
the reality, is that
right.
all our
So
people
I
have
want
always
us
been
to
fighting. We never stop fighting, It's just that a lot of stuff is just like we don't speak the patois, but we let it fade away. But some of the Windward Islands continue with these things and stuff like that. But the odds are we always will be speaking the same, all these different languages and Creole, but we just let it. Some of us lose it. You see?
yeah, we definitely need to get back to our and, and culture. And what's going on with Abraham and yeah, we just putting the music on the with all what's going on with Abraham show and revolutionary moves that's taking place within the region. It is that time for us to really come there. It's like right now the way what's going on, it's a time for us to really stand up. And if we as a people don't stand up and take the action that we like a relay race, we're gonna miss a button that should be passed on to us. Like the opportunity to realize the Marcus Garvey, Africa for Africans at home and abroad. You know what I mean? And so with that, bank here, hear the music underneath, and we definitely have to do this. Ira, we're gonna have a new program on Real Entertainment Network. We're gonna have a program that deals with African consciousness, Africa, and that bridging the gap between Africa and the Caribbean. So we're gonna have a discussion about that. People, give us your feedback also, and if you think that we should do something like that, we would love to get that. That should be like a thing on Real Entertainment Network. What you call it? That's a petition. A poll. Would you love to have a African conscious program? Would you love to have a African Caribbean diaspora and connection program? With that, people, enough love, guidance, and detection. See you next week. See you for another edition of Everything Agriculture. See you next week, Tuesday, for another edition of The Topics. Enough love, everybody.